मिलन होगा, तुझको पाकर इन नैनों में प्रेम का मोती होगा, प्रेम का मोती होगा। परम पिता तू इतना प्यारा, अब तुझसे मिलन होगा, तुझको पाकर इन नैनों में प्रेम का मोती होगा, प्रेम का मोती होगा। गिरते गिरते मुझको संभाला, सब तेरी ही बदौलत है। प्रीत का रस ऐसा छाया, ये अनुभव रूहानी है, ये अनुभव रूहानी है। तेरे रंग में जो रंग जाए, जीवन में आनंद होगा, तुझको पाकर इन नैनों में प्रेम का मोती होगा, प्रेम का मोती होगा। नाम है तेरा पालनहारा, अब तुझसे मिलन होगा, तुझको पाकर इन नैनों में प्रेम का मोती होगा, प्रेम का मोती होगा। ओम शांति, ओम शांति, ओम शांति, ओम शांति। तेरे नाम से मेरे रहबर, मेरी सांसें चलती हैं, तेरी बाहों में मेरे भगवन जन्नत का सुख पाते हैं, जन्नत का सुख पाते हैं। सुबह शाम बस तेरी इबादत, हर एक कष्ट खत्म होगा, तेरे ज्ञान को पाकर ही तो विश्व परिवर्तन होगा, विश्व परिवर्तन।
Om Shanti. Good morning. Let us know how audio is. It's good. Good. It's very powerful listening to Baba this morning. And we are always inspired when Baba speaks about anything that we want to understand how it is significant. But how do I actually use that through the day? And so there's these two aspects of power of knowledge and power of yoga. And that also came up this morning, shortly after Amrit Vela, in terms of, again, how do we use it? And Baba had mentioned in this Murli that was in April, and comes to mind often in terms of what does Baba mean? Again, how do I use it? But he had said in that Murli that knowledge is not the means of happiness. He said all relationships with Baba is the means of happiness. But I need to anchor myself in all relationships with Baba and use knowledge to stay with him in all scenes and situations. He said that there needs to be a balance. And if I don't use knowledge, I cannot remain detached. I can't remain free. I'll be pulled by things. I will need to actually be a detached observer of others, whatever's going on inside. I need this wisdom so I'm not taking from others from a place that's really basically immature, not really understanding what's really going on. But at the same time, I need to be having all relationships with Baba because that's all about attainments with him. And listening to Baba today was really feeling that as well. Very powerful in terms of what is he talking about? Why is he telling us about your mothers? And you need to, the urn of knowledge is on your head. He says, uplift your equals, free the prostitutes. What does that mean for each of us? And all of us are actually mothers, even the brothers, right? And it was really such a powerful feeling. You know, that it's not about something of gender, but originally we were pure and then we became impure. But there's that memory of purity in each of us. And Baba plants that seed so we become spiritually pregnant. Right? It's a pure seed, though. And what we carry in us is then this awakened memory of that purity. And that allows that purity then to be accessible for all scenes and situations, for others, to transform anything that has happened that we've done that was actually out of illusion. So such a feeling of constantly, I have the capacity to transform every moment if I'm carrying this seed with me. And such a feeling of looking at Babdada, that, Shiv Baba comes into the body of Brahma. He becomes accessible to us. We feel what spirituality is like in the midst of the old. And so it's interesting, Baba talks about mothers because they were pure and they became impure, but they hold a child within them, physically speaking, but symbolically speaking, And this whole thing about prostitutes is interesting too. We've sold ourselves, but to get ourselves back again. And again, through the day, what does that look like? This lens of understanding so that I stay with Baba. And what that creates, Sister Rosario was asking that question about serving. It becomes very natural. And in terms of what that looks like on subtle levels, but it was also such a feeling listening to Baba, is that there's this spiritual sympathy Baba had talked about quite a few weeks ago. Is that Baba saying, uplift your equals. You know what they went through. Like, let Baba use you in that way so that others can experience, because you become a bridge. And so just letting what Baba says sit inside. What do I do with what Baba says for my benefit and others? As since sweet children, you have to uplift your equals. The Father has placed the urn of knowledge on you mothers, and you mothers therefore have a huge responsibility. So, sweet children, you have to uplift your equals. The Father has placed the urn of knowledge on you mothers, and you mothers therefore have a huge responsibility. Question: for which special task are you mothers the instruments? What responsibility do you have? So for which task are you mothers the instrument? What responsibility do you have? Answer: you are instruments to make the impure world pure, to make hell into heaven. The Father has placed the urn of knowledge on you mothers, and you therefore have the responsibility of granting everyone salvation. You are the Shiv Shakti army, so this combined power with God. You now have to benefit your equals. Save everyone from being impure. You also have to uplift the prostitutes. So everyone is selling themselves, but we have now that understanding. It's this sympathy. It was interesting, Mohini Didi had shared, I think, when those were here for this bhakti, it was actually a message to the Canadian family from Mohini Didi. She never elaborated much after that, but she was saying that there's a difference from sympathy and mercy, but I really feel that it was a feeling she was trying to convey. The one is from a place that there's compassion. And of course, Baba says be merciful, but just in the context, compassion. But how do I have that? There definitely needs, of course, to be soul consciousness, because I need to actually be free from what I have gone through, beyond the details. Because if I can be beyond what I've gone through, I can see others without having any sense of buttons inside come up. Everyone has sold themselves. So you're instruments to make the impure world pure, to make hell into heaven. The Father's placed the urn of knowledge on you mothers, and you therefore have the responsibility of granting everyone salvation. You are the Shiv Shakti army. You now have to benefit your equals. Save everyone from becoming impure. You also have to uplift the prostitutes. In the song, O traveler of the night, do not become weary. The destination of the dawn is not far off. Om Shanti. You children heard a line of the song. We are now going towards our homeland. That is, we are now going to the land of happiness. You mothers have been made instruments to carry out the establishment of the land of happiness. The urn of the nectar of knowledge has been placed on you mothers, just as a ceremony of the opening or the establishment of something is carried out. So too the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is carrying out the opening of paradise through you mothers. The urn is placed on you mothers, therefore you children now have to become alert. This is a Shakti army. So spiritual power, an army of spiritual power. The Father gives a responsibility to you children. It isn't that the Father has given those gurus the responsibility of granting everyone salvation. So ironically, even on the path of devotion, only males could be gurus, right? Baba is putting the mothers in front in terms of, in a spiritual way, he's talking about, the qualities of the soul that are needed at this time for transformation. Otherwise, if there's just way too much ego that we have, so the feminine qualities. So it isn't that the Father has given those gurus the responsibility of granting everyone salvation. You now know that it is a task of the mothers to grant salvation. Salvation is received through knowledge. So salvation is received through knowledge. But when we listen to Baba and we really feel it is Shiv Baba speaking through Brahma, and we feel he's the embodiment, it doesn't feel like information. It feels so real, so practical, so relevant. And so it doesn't go into the intellectual. The mothers have received their urn of knowledge. It is shown that the urn is placed on the world mother. In the scriptures, they have mentioned the name of Lakshmi. There is this difference. So can I feel a difference between world mother versus Lakshmi? The urn has been placed on you mothers. The urn has been placed on Kali. There is praise of Kali, so it's another goddess or deity in the Hindu religion. It's often considered as Ma, mother, but a pretty scary looking one, frightening the devils away. They have created many images, so the urn is now placed on you mothers because mothers who are your equals are now in a bad state. So the urn is now placed on you mothers because mothers who are your equals are now in a bad state. You are called Shiv Shaktis. You are an incognito army. Your intellect should have enthusiasm. You're establishing your self-sovereignty. So you're an incognito army. That which is planted in us, that we actually hold and protect and nurture is not visible. Just like mothers, your intellects should have enthusiasm. You are establishing your self-sovereignty. The expression salutation to the mothers has been remembered. The name of the land of Bharat is also remembered. They say victory to the mothers of Bharat, that is, victory to the mothers who live in Bharat. Victory to the mothers who are making the world into heaven. They have made a mistake and simply spoken of the mothers of Bharat. Baba is glorifying the name of you mothers. He inspires the carrying out of the opening ceremony of heaven. You say that Shiv Baba is making the world into heaven through you mothers. You shot arrows of knowledge at Bhisham Pitame, etc. So that's why it's interesting, because that memorial of Kumaris who have done that, and mothers were Kumaris, so there is that. And that's a big piece. We have a memory of purity. And that becomes very important. The Father says, don't be afraid to shoot arrows of knowledge. You have to study and teach others. Your army become the instruments. You are master knowledgeful. They have portrayed Saraswati with a sitar because she is the cleverest of all. The world doesn't know this. You know that you're now becoming beautiful from ugly. They go to Kali. They call out to her, Ma, Ma. They cry so much, don't even ask. Nothing happens through that, though. There's a lot of praise of Kali in Calcutta. This Brahma is not a mother, and this is why you mothers are given the urn. You are an army of mamas, all equal. You say, Baba, whatever I am and however I am yours. So Baba understands that, even what is considered accessible to us, even on a very physical level, has to look like an actual mother. So Baba says Brahma is not a mother. And there was one time Baba had actually said in Murli, he is the senior mother. And he said something like, it's interesting that, then goddesses, female goddesses are remembered, even though he's the senior mother, because when things become on the physical level, what is going to be actually accessible? Do we understand on a physical level? You say, Baba, whatever I am and however I am yours. That one, so Shiv Baba also says, whatever you are, however you are mine. However, you have to follow Srimat. All of you are brides. All of you say that you belong to God. You are given the explanation that all of you are the children of Shiv Baba. You have to prove this. First of all, there is the praise of Shiva. He is the highest on high. He alone is called God. Shiv Baba alone gives us the inheritance. He is the incorporeal father of all souls. Therefore, you daughters now have to uplift your equals. All the responsibility is given to you mothers. So Shiv Baba alone gives us the inheritance. He is the incorporeal father of all souls. Therefore, you daughters have to uplift your equals. All the responsibility is given to you mothers. The father also says salutations to the mothers. Shiva is the child, and so he has to say salutations to the mothers. That one salutes you, and you then salute him. It is a wonder. This too is fixed in the drama. You know that Shiv Baba grants visions. Even while sitting at home, you can have visions of the one with the peacock feathered crown. Everyone has a crown. This is a trademark that is used. They have given Krishna such a big crown. Otherwise, he doesn't wear such a big crown. The Father sits here and gives you mothers a vision of your aim and objective. You will become a mother of a prince. That'd be shocking to the world to know that God has that much regard for mothers. I can say physical mothers, but on a much deeper level, just the capacity and quality of what is required at this time for change. So the Father sits here and gives you mothers a vision of your aim and objective. You will become a mother of a prince. Not everyone will become the mother of Krishna. There are many princes and princesses. To be the mother of a prince means to become an emperor or empress. Your aim and objective are so good, you will have a prince in your lap. You daughters have a lot of responsibility. There should be a big gathering of you. You should create a memorandum. We Shiv Shaktis are the mothers of Bharat. We made Bharat into heaven by following Srimat even in the previous cycle. Mothers, you have to be very clever. Nowadays, your equals are beaten a great deal for poison. Therefore, you should speak out to help them. Tell the government, we make Bharat into heaven every cycle with the power of purity. But they are creating these obstacles in this. We want to remain pure together with you. Some men too will say that purity truly is very good. People have birth control pills in order not to have children, but nothing is accomplished by that. The Father says, become pure. The brothers are also helpers of you mothers. You daughters should become alert. You too have to show your sparkle. Tell the government, God the Father says, become pure. All are children of Shiv Baba. Therefore, they are all brothers. Then, because of being children of Prajapita, we are brothers and sisters. The new world is now being established. The children of Shiv Baba are also the children of Prajapita Brahma, and they are brothers and sisters. They cannot exchange poison with one another. This is a tactic. The Father made you pure in the same way in the previous cycle too. We are now conquering Maya, Ravan. This Ravan is Bharat's great enemy because you were defeated by Ravan. You were defeated in everything. Rama comes and enables you to gain victory over Ravan. However, even now, some of you have so much attachment to your husbands, etc. Don't even ask. You mothers have now received the urn. You should explain that you're opening the gates to heaven. They have portrayed Lakshmi with an urn. However, Lakshmi is pure. What would she do? What would she do with the urn of knowledge? The urn of knowledge is with the world mother. So even on the path of devotion, Lakshmi is only remembered for wealth, and she is only worshipped for wealth. But Jagadamba is always worshipped for all sorts of things, and even in the temples, Baba has always mentioned Lakshmi temple is so big. The Jagadamba's temple is so small, it's always crowded, and they're always crying out for all sorts of different things. This memorial again. So what we need is much more than just wealth. So they have portrayed Lakshmi with an urn. However, Lakshmi is pure. What would she do with the urn of knowledge? The urn of knowledge is with the world mother. The Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, has now issued an ordinance. Lust is the greatest enemy. Those who conquer it will become elevated and become the masters of heaven. Your children should have a lot of love for each other. This is like an army that has come together of the Brahma Kumars and Kumaris. No one knows where anyone is. Not all the children of all the centers can be invited here. Mothers have a lot of bondage. And again, mothers were Kumaris, if we're using that significance, and used to not have bondage. And so Baba had said something that was so powerful the other day that, it is the impure world that is transformed into the pure world. And it was so powerful, again, this power of knowledge. He basically is saying, you will become pure again. Don't look at where you are at right now, but what you were and what you will become. And our ideas of just basically destroying anything of the old and thinking that something new is going to come from just complete destruction. So it's transformation is what Baba is talking about. So you children should have a lot of love for each other. Sorry, backing up too much. Not all the children of the centers can be invited here. Mothers have a lot of bondage. They also have to look after their children. Otherwise, the men would report them. But when the men go away, who in fact looks after the households then? You have to show them that those people teach Hatha Yoga and that we teach Raja Yoga. This is why we have to receive salvation. Baba has told you. Also explain to prostitutes that they should stop that dirty business. Tell them to become the gates of heaven. If you accomplish this task, your name will be glorified very much. You have to benefit them too. This confluence age is benevolent. You have to cry out a great deal for purity. Have mercy for those prostitutes. The government too now employs them with one type of work or another. Explain in such a way that it is printed in newspapers that the Brahma Kumars and Kumaris are giving knowledge to even prostitutes and liberating from that dirty business, because lust is the greatest enemy. You become impure and dirty through it. This world is corrupt. The Father comes and uplifts the mothers. It is the duty of the brothers to become helpers. Those who make effort will claim a high status. You should have mercy for yourselves. This place is called a brothel. So you should have mercy for your equals. This place is called a brothel. The Father comes next and makes it into the temple of Shiva. In fact, these are aspects of knowledge. The Father enters this body of a human being and gives this knowledge to you. You know that you are now changing from those in the graveyard into those who are in the land of angels. This is a lake of knowledge. You continue to dip yourselves in knowledge, but there's no question of water, etc. here. When they go on pilgrimages, they make a lot of effort, etc. To go on foot carrying so much luggage is very hard work. You have now understood that Baba sits in a human being, in a human body, and bathes you in knowledge. However, there are no angels, etc. It is Baba who is making you into angels of knowledge. These are such good things that have to be imbibed. If you daughters become alert, you can do a lot of service. You mothers have to go. It's fascinating, Baba. It's talking about the exact same beings, you daughters, you mothers, these specific capacities within that he is actually nurturing, all for this aspect of world transformation. Tell them, wherever prostitutes are, create groups of them, explain to their seniors. However, it shouldn't be that externally you keep saying mine is one other and none other, but that internally someone else keeps pulling you. That cannot work either. Become a true child of the Father. Where is that cheerfulness on your face? Oh, you are going to meet the unlimited Father, and so you should come running to meet him in great happiness. I will go and become a garland around Baba's neck. Don't get tired. Your remembrance is a race. Those are physical races. This is your spiritual race. Your faces should bloom with happiness. So that actually is what is the service, is actually our transformation, Baba has said, and that our features change, our stage is what reveals Baba. Our eyes, he has mentioned that. So your faces should bloom with happiness. When a wife's husband was lost and is then found, she runs frantically through the streets to meet him again. That one is the unlimited husband of all husbands. What do you have to be afraid of? You should come running to meet the one from whom you receive the inheritance of heaven. Acha to the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children. Love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother of the Father, Bapdada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children say namaste to the spiritual father. The essence for dharana number 1. Become a true child of the Father. Make sure there isn't one thing internally and something else externally. Go ahead in the spiritual race of remembrance. Become very cheerful and happy. To become a true child of the Father, make sure there isn't one thing internally and something else externally. And that's very, very important in terms of to be able to be out in the old and to stay real in who we are. So that's what constantly pulls us, who we really are. And there's all these vices that come up. And to actually practice being a detached observer, that takes time, takes power, but we do need to practice so that we're not affected by the things inside, and we do definitely get stronger with that. So go ahead in this spiritual race of remembrance, become very cheerful and happy. So a part of it too is this, Baba said, uplift your equals. Is that we really can't actually until we gain power, because there is not enough detachment. We want to obviously uplift others, but we have to be able to increasingly become one who's not influenced. Otherwise, we kind of get pulled into the bog as well. So number 2, live with one another with a lot of love. Organize a gathering of the Shiv Shakti army and save your equals. Create methods to become pure and enable others to become pure. So live with one another with a lot of love. Organize a gathering of the Shiv Shakti army and save your equals. Create methods to become pure and enable others to become pure. And the blessing, this is Baba had talked about this in the Avyak, the part of our signal for this morning, the stage of happiness. So may you create your stage of happiness with your elevated awareness and become an embodiment of happiness. The basis of your stage is your awareness. Baba underlines that all the time. The basis of your stage is your awareness. You simply have to be an embodiment of awareness. For as is your awareness, so will be your stage. Maintain the awareness of being happy, and your stage will be of happiness. So Baba spent all the time in Murli of how we have that happiness. What does he plant in us? What do I need to nurture? So maintain the awareness of being happy, and your stage will be of happiness. We have this fortune of salvation at this time. If you have awareness of sorrow, your stage will be of sorrow. Sorrow is going to increase in the world. Everything is going to go into its extreme. But you children of the ocean of happiness will remain constantly happy and be detached from sorrow as embodiments of happiness. Therefore, no matter what happens, you will stay constantly in pleasure. So may you create your stage of happiness with your elevated awareness and become an embodiment of happiness. The basis of your stage is your awareness. You simply have to be an embodiment of awareness, for as is your awareness, so will be your stage. Maintain the awareness of being happy, and your stage will be of happiness. So always remembering how, not to be doing things in the old way that we used to. It's not sustainable. You'll get tired, possibly suppressing things. How is that happiness possible now with Baba? If you have awareness of sorrow, your stage will be of sorrow. Sorrow is going to increase in the world. Everything is going to go into its extreme, but you children of the ocean of happiness will remain constantly happy and be detached from sorrow as embodiments of happiness. So that's actually how we let go of sorrow. As I embody happiness, that's how I detach from everything of the old. I need to actually be experiencing that which is real, that which is pure. I can't detach otherwise. Therefore, no matter what happens, you will stay constantly in pleasure. And the slogan, to save the treasure of time from being wasted, is the sign of an intense effort maker. To save the treasure of time from being wasted is a sign of an intense effort maker. And there are invaluable elevated versions of Matashwariji, so Mama's Murli. The ancient yoga of Bharat is taught by God. So that's the title. The ancient yoga of Bharat is taught by God. Our godly yoga is well known in Bharat as ancient yoga. Why is this yoga called the eternal yoga? Because it is taught by the eternal Supreme Father, Supreme Soul. Although other human souls also teach yoga and open yoga ashrams, they cannot teach this ancient yoga. If they did teach such yoga, then where is that power? Bharat is getting weaker day by day, and this shows that that yoga is not eternal. Only the one with whom you have to have yoga can teach you. So only the one with whom you have to have yoga can teach you. Sometimes Baba has actually said, such a powerful example, a lawyer becomes a lawyer when he has yoga with his lawyer teacher. That piece of that relationship and connection with his teacher, who's a lawyer, is a big part of actually not just knowledge itself, it's the entire experience of learning. So Baba becomes our mother, father, teacher, and guide. So only the one with whom you have yoga can teach you. You don't have to have yoga with others. So how can they teach you? Only God himself can carry out this task. and only He alone can share this secret with us. Although people everywhere say that they will teach us yoga, we know that God Himself teaches us true yoga and establishes the sun and moon dynasty deity kingdoms. God Himself comes and teaches us this ancient yoga every cycle. You souls constantly have to have yoga with the Supreme Soul, and your sins will then be destroyed. So, although people everywhere say that they will teach us yoga, we know that God Himself teaches us true yoga and establishes the sun and moon dynasty deity kingdoms. God Himself comes and teaches us this ancient yoga every cycle. You souls constantly have to have yoga with the Supreme Soul, and your sins will then be destroyed. Acha. Shanti, and then we have signals. So these avyak signals are become brahmachari, one who follows the activities of Father Brahma. Father Brahma was always a detached observer and remained beyond. These were the elevated qualifications of the complete stage of the corporeal being. So the global bhakti was very powerful, very practically useful. There's the stage of soul consciousness, there's a stage of being bodiless. Both are essential. And of course, the stage of being beyond. What do these stages feel like? What is the importance of these stages so that I can actually continue to become pure? And part of purity is also detaching from what I am not. And then just completely just being purely in that stage of being a soul with Baba, completely being cleaned. So Father Brahma was always a detached observer and remained beyond. These were the elevated qualifications of the complete stage of their corporeal being. You now have to be equal in these sanskars and with these qualities and win everyone's heart. Those who win everyone's hearts at the confluence age become world emperors in the future. So sow the seeds here and receive the fruit there. So you now have to be equal in those sanskars and with these qualities, win everyone's hearts. Those who win everyone's hearts at the confluence age become world emperors in the future. So sow the seeds here and receive the fruit there. And so these were yesterday, as souls know, as Didi Manmohini's day. So these are main teachings received from Didi Manmohini Ji. Just as you have breath just as you have one breath after another, in the same way you have one thought after another, there is a race between both. In action, you breathe quickly, and in yoga, your thoughts race. In yoga, when you concentrate on loving thoughts in remembrance of the One Father, you experience all types of sweetness. Every thought on the field of concentration is fruitful. For this, you need to have the practice of karma and yoga. Also, pay attention to your daily timetable. The stage of being detached and loving is a very sweet stage. So, just as you have one breath after another, in the same way you have one thought after another, there is a race between both. In action, you breathe quickly, and in yoga, your thoughts race. In yoga, when you concentrate on loving thoughts and remembrance of the One Father, you experience all types of sweetness. Every thought on the field of concentration is fruitful. For this, you need to have the practice of karma and yoga. Also, pay attention to your daily timetable. The stage of being detached and loving is a very sweet stage. Shanti. So sit with Baba for 10 minutes and just absorb what he has said. Shanti. If there's anything that souls wish to share, either on YouTube or on Zoom.
Um, just one point for today to carry is the basis of my stage is my awareness. So, what kind of awareness do I carry as I walk and move, along today, throughout the day? So, just maintaining that I, the being, the soul. And then Baba talked about, if I'm in that awareness of happiness, then I become an embodiment of happiness. So those are my original qualities, and I truly am that awareness and experience that, maintaining that stage. That is simple and powerful to pay attention to that awareness.
Shanti. And it reminded me when Baba was speaking about that in the blessing. Same thing is just we are spiritual mothers. We experience what happiness is. We carry that with us. It's, yes, very incognito. But what creates then that stage, and remember, because we always say we want a powerful stage, Baba's always said it's awareness, yes. But it was just feeling even from the blessing, just what a spiritual mother is. It comes to a point when souls will, Baba has said that souls will look at us and say, what's, something, you're learning something, or something is very different. So we are carrying something, that purity with us, so that becomes accessible for souls. And Baba is saying we need to stay, how to stay in that constant stage. And I know that Judy Bennett shared that signal from Mohini Didi, that how can my efforts be greater and deeper? Is consistency. And so for each of us, reflecting what is preventing me from being consistent? What is it that keeps pulling me away? Starting to really pay attention to these little things. Mm-hmm.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
So today, Baba, I feel Baba is the mother, the father, and liberator, and uplifter, elevator. So I was reflecting as well about the blessing to become aware of become the embodiment of awareness. And I was thinking about what should I be aware of, and Baba is helping me to be the conqueror of sorrow and become the embodiment of happiness. And yesterday, Baba mentioned as well that everything about him is elevated. He's the most elevated ocean of knowledge and most elevated ocean of peace. which is related to become the awareness, become the embodiment of an elevated awareness. So yesterday I did an experiment, and this physical body was really sleepy, and I had a little bit of break at Logic work, and there's no place for me to take a nap. And just staying in that stage and being the master, of this physical senses, and it's so hot outside, everyone is complaining. How would I maintain my stage of being stable? And do I really need to take a nap? And then I decided to, because there's so much time, and I went outside. It was almost plus 30. And I just keep that moment of solitude and just appreciate the present moment, because if I complain, or this is not gonna cost me, a lot of stability, and Maya and Ravan will take over. So I walk slow and go to the car, and it's extremely hot. It feels like I'm in the oven. But I just think of Baba, and Baba said once that do not depend on the facilities. And I have an air conditioning in the car, and I say no. And I experiment just to be with Baba, and okay, it's time to take a nap. Don't turn on anything. And in a second, I fall asleep. And it took about 15 minutes of a nap, and then I wake up, and I was dripping with sweat. And there was a sense of calmness and contentment. And I know I slept with Baba, and with that awareness that I'll stay elevated and content, and just being conquer the heat, the hot, because I grew up in a plus 40, plus 45. And how should I complain? But it's just an automatic appreciation, and being at that stage, I was able to conquer the heat. So happy, and the physical body was so energized and powerful. And I came inside, and everyone looking at me is like, did you go? Did you just woke up? And it's like, yes, I took a nap. And it's like, it's so hot. It's like, yeah, it's hot, but I feel good, And it's like, and then everyone there's like, I think they're commenting about, why do you're crazy. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm just so energized now. And then as I sat down, had a meal, another soul came. It's like, Pauline, do you know Satguru? It's like, and it's like, yeah, I heard of him. And then she started to share. So again, as a detached observer, and this soul is in a conflict with, with a partner, and telling me about stuff that she's doing, eating. And I know Baba has given me the knowledge, but if arrogance or ego comes in, I will throw out knowledge. But I just listen to her, and just being compassionate and merciful, and not so much word. And I just give her an assurance that it's gonna be okay, and just a smile, and she just completely like feeling more peaceful. And she stopped talking, and it just suddenly there's a total silence. That stage that I have carried within myself, taking nap with Baba, just created a sense of peacefulness and contentment within that conversation. And it was so beautiful to experiment of what really Baba is telling us, that yes, we need to imbibe, but we need to experience that, to become the embodiment of the awareness of who we are. I am a trustee, and I am a detached observer. Om Shanti.
Shanti. Baba, it's interesting. I was thinking lately about, Baba has always given us drills, and, we want to integrate at least, one or two drills consistently, practice for a long period of time. But I was saying, and so your experimentations was reminding me of that. And maybe here in the original days, a lot of experimentations that Baba would be doing with the children. And I was thinking about that again. The call to time is that we definitely need to be able to do more of that as well. And the other thing that it was interesting because quite a few years ago, it was really emphasized in the beginning. They did a lot of drills, but it really felt like at the call of time at the time of what was inspiring was, yes, the drills, but the original jewels very much recognized who was teaching them, right? So then there was an intoxicationist Baba who's giving me these drills. And, there was this one Murli that was thinking so much about because Mohini Didi had dedicated, well, I think that's when it really started. Abhyakti Parvar started to really focus on one theme a month. But she was focusing on this one particular Abhyakti Murli Baba had about the 4 detachments. And in it, Baba was saying that it was children, they were just practicing to actually be loving and detached while eating physical food. And he had described in that the children were just intoxicated, that Baba had given them this homework, and that the intoxication of just that God had given them homework was actually even more enthusiastic for them than even the fact that they had to be eating, just millet chapatis and buttermilk. It was very interesting. I was really thinking about that today, getting ready for Amrit Vela. How, every Baba gives us all these different methods. He teaches us a lot. And always keeping the point of what I need to do. And that ultimately I need to stay with Baba. And so at every moment, how can I stay with Baba? Baba gives us so many different yuktis. And when there's an experimentation of some sort, not experiment in itself is very important. And yes, and just as Pauline Benny were sharing, it's just staying with Baba. So that really stayed with me. Baba had said, what is spiritual endeavor? It's all relationships with him. And anything that Baba tells us, we're just experimenting and practicing. And the whole point is that I'm learning to always be anchored with Baba and not pulled into any of these different things, and why these little spiritual experimentations. I know Jima Ben was touched by when Baba said that a few weeks ago about experimenting with yoga, in terms of all these different aspects, and never letting the thread be lost. I belong to Baba. Baba belongs to me. Who am I and who is Baba? What am I becoming? So that these experiments really serve that purpose. And was really feeling, just how this journey to stay healthy. And Baba has said that make sure that that the number one thing is that belonging with Baba. And then the knowledge and these different methods, experimentations, and so forth are always in service to that connection and relationship with Baba. Very, very important. Sometimes, at least I've noticed for myself, it can lose the point, get engrossed in the detail of an experimentation, start to get intellectual, get a little microscopic. And we're so lucky Baba gets to remind us all the time. So thank you, Pauline Ben. Is there any other thoughts that souls wish to share?
I it is sharing, but it is gratefulness. Okay,
Sorry,
because,
Rosario, just give me
yeah,
1 sec. I'm just going to turn up the speaker.
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, it is more gratefulness, okay, because I am very grateful to Baba to put you guys in my way, all right, because I always was searching for more to connect with Baba,
Mhm.
and with you, I am receiving the knowledge that I need. And yeah, it is um, the awareness of being happy. And yeah, I am very happy now that I found this and that I can see differently. And I always think it is something more there than what everybody teach me. It is something more and I need to find it. And thank you, Baba. Thank you, you guys, because I I found it. And yeah, it's like I am absorbing everything, and yeah, no matter what happens, like in the lesson at the end, he said, no matter what happens, you will stay happy, and yeah, I am very happy, even when it is a storm over here, and it is like I'm okay. It's all good, and it is thanks to you. This
Mm.
is all what I want to say. Om
Mhm.
Shanti.
Shanti. We always practice as well that we feel that Baba makes us each instruments. And so each of us also practice, and Mohini Didi was sharing this actually, because I know, yeah, we were all very thankful for Mohini Didi, I'm sure. She is the instrument for so much sustenance for Avyakti Parvar. And she always redirects to Baba. It's like, it's not me, it's Baba. He makes me move, he teaches, and I feel the same way. So much in the last 3-4 years, my efforts with Baba have changed significantly. I deeply, deeply feel Baba has really such an amazing teacher. And there was something that Daddy Janki had shared. It's funny, it was probably one of the last, I think it was the last time I was actually in Peace Village before the pandemic. And there was, I think Mohini Dee was sharing, Daddy, it's so wonderful you're with us here in this gathering. You can feel the impact the moment you've come. And she said, just as amazing as the creation, do you know how amazing the creator is? So we always stay protected when we always, this whole theme about Karan and Har. And so Baba has you here for special reasons, Sister Rosario, and all of us, for whatever reason, for our learning. And so that is always the aim. We all want to be able to absorb and make use. And so when you are sharing that, it feels relevant, it feels very significant what you're learning. And it goes back to your question about how do I share with others? It actually becomes something Baba had said one time. It really stayed with me. He said, and of course it's always the context, but he had said that there is more power when you share about the stories, of just your journey with Baba than to actually give the course. And of course, it's always the context. But when he was talking about that in that particular Murli, he was talking about all the amazing and crazy things that the original Jules had gone through. And why he was talking about that, because he was using examples, because the children were sharing from their hearts all of their journey of how the yegya was created. And that really stayed with me, because when you share from your heart, it's a very different experience for souls. And it's not that Baba was saying don't give the course. He's actually really sharing. It's just really from this aspect of awareness piece that Mohini Didi had shared one time, that the highest level of remembrance is when you actually remember what Baba has done for you in your life, not just dealing with day-to-day situations, coping with your life, but just this transformation, what you have been looking for all of your life. And it's definitely beyond just one physical birth, what you have been looking for. This is real salvation. And that is what will serve souls. And I remember yesterday, I was with a soul over the lunch hour, sharing again. And it was very powerful in terms of what I was gauging, because we were there at Lockig work, but when we were sharing, it didn't feel like it was at Lockig work. It was as if at that moment, we were just speaking about spiritual experiences, but I didn't feel like I was there. It was as if Baba had took myself and this other soul into a completely different world. And at the moment, like, okay, where are we? When we realized, okay, we're done with lunch, we got to go back now. But and I remember that used to happen a lot when I first came to Baba. And so Baba really teaches us, very practical ways that is in service to the entire transformation of ourselves. And so, it's being able to just focus on ourselves, and there's that real benefit within how that affects others. So thank you for sharing, Rosario Ben. Linda Ben, we're not putting in the spot. If you have anything to share, and souls who are on YouTube, if you have anything to share.
Shanti. Really appreciating the sharing this morning. The journey and all the gifts that Baba gives us in terms of the sustenance. And so this morning just is filled with gratitude for this, the recognition of the source of all these gifts. Shanti.
Shanti. Yes, most. I was suddenly thinking about a few days ago that one thing that Brahma Baba had said, many things, of course, these famous lines of what his efforts were, but this aspect of less expenditure, greater glorification. I was thinking about that again at Amravela and last night, but the recognition of who the source is, who's teaching me, that it is a huge, powerful seed when we keep that in our awareness. Really experiment with that as well, in terms of how that affects how I listen to Baba. It affects when I actually practice considering myself to be a soul. So I was really feeling that as well. How do I recognize? So we wanted to remind souls, if you haven't had a chance to register, this is, of course, for those who are coming on site for the Family Iraqi program, to please kindly register. It's really just for numbers for the instruments who are preparing Bog. And if there's souls who are not able to come and would like to have Bog delivered to them, please also let us know. We're happy to make arrangements for that so that that can happen. Linda Ben, I'm happy to courier that package to you in Wyoming, but Linda Ben will be joining with us actually at the end of August. And so once Raki is over, we will tend to preparations for your visit as well. So it'll be so wonderful for you to join us. We don't have to courier the Brahma Bhojan to you. You will be sitting here with us. So that will be very wonderful. We will be sending out a note as well, a reminder of the BK Raki program, but that will also include, because we forgot to do that, just details of parking. So it's nothing complicated, but just it helps souls when they actually come onto the area. And we hope to have proper signage as well for that. And also, we just haven't had a chance to, but we'll be sending out a note for August 1st, the Bhatti. So this is separate from the global Bhatti. As I mentioned, it's just because we have a stat holiday and the family loves to be together in a Bhatti. So we'll have that on Monday. And I'll just have to connect with Judy Ben if we plan to stream that online. I don't have a problem with that. It's really easy. And so if there are souls who are inspired to join online, they're welcome to as well. And so we'll send a note about that, but save the date. That is on Sunday. And it'll probably be similar timing, 3:30 in the morning, or if souls plan to come on say, however early or you're able to come. 3:30 may be too early for you. But and then I believe it'll end by 7:30. So we hope to craft a timetable for that as well. All right. So just let us know if you have questions. The Raki program will also be streamed online as well. The Hindi Murli class, English Murli class, and the Raki program. So just have a moment of silence. Om Shanti. Take care.